Hey, Oz.
Hey, Curtis.
What movie we watching this week?
This week we got the movie merits of Chips,
Mm-hmm.
Reno 911,
Checks out.
right? Sicario,
Interesting.
and Wonder Woman. And if you haven't figured out what we've got from this movie salad, this week we're watching Super Troopers.
Tell me this. I'm not picking up on the Sicario reference.
It's a movie about drug trafficking across interstate lines or across continental lines, or not continental lines, but national lines and national boundaries.
I have not seen
Sicario. That was Mexico, though. There's very few films, I believe, that talk about the Canadian to U.S. drug traffic. So
illegal shipments of maple syrup going back and forth.
Exactly. So welcome back, listeners of yours, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme, this month being rhyming titles. And we provide a movie that satisfies it. And so this week is my week, and I've brought Super Troopers to discuss with you.
Yes, a much cleaner rhyme than Action Jackson.
A little bit. I'm getting better. Before we do get moving, we do want to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S., Aaron A., Mandy K., and Melissa L. Thank you again for your patronage. And jump into the Patreon because you've got bonus episodes. If you're a member of the Flicks Click.
The F crew.
That's right. If you're ponying up for the level 2 patron, you do have access to those bonus episodes. Patron. So, all right. My movie this week, you got characters. Who's in this motion picture?
I got the characters. For the most part, this movie is led and created by the Broken Lizard comedy troupe, an incredibly hit or miss comedy troupe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's existed for about 25 years or so now. So the Vermont State Troopers in this film are played by Jay Shanrazak Kazar, Lieutenant Arcot Thorny Ramathorn.
Yeah.
he's the lieutenant, so he's kind of in charge of the day-to-day stuff. And then we have the 4 other troopers. We have Paul Soder as Trooper Foster, Steve Lemmy as Mac, the crazy guy.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Eric Stolhansky as Rabbit, the rookie.
I like Rabbit.
And Kevin Heffernan as Rodney Rod Farva. and the little descriptor they give in Wikipedia. A loud, ill-tempered, obnoxious, and arrogant radio operator.
Yeah, you left an adjective out, but that's okay.
I did leave out an adjective.
That's fair.
I won't shame him there.
No.
And then we have Captain John O'Hagan, played by world-renowned actor and thespian Brian Cox,
and Super Bowl champion.
Yes, Super Bowl champion with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Also played for the Jets, I think the Dolphins and the Bears as well. He was with the Bears under Dave Wanstatt.
That's right.
Pittsburgh's own Wednesday. I love listening to Dave Wanstatt, for all of you 90s Bears fans, because he's the most Pittsburgh that Pittsburgh could ever Pittsburgh.
Oh, gotcha.
Like when he says days of the week, hey, it's Sunday, Wednesday.
Pittsburgh, also home of Tom Savini.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think they roomed together at one point.
I think so. I've never seen them in the same place at the same time. So who's to say they're not the same guy?
That would explain all the great zombie makeup that that Mark Carrier had in the mid-90s.
Exactly. No, there's another podcast I listen to called Werewolf Ambulance, and they're a great show.
Yeah.
Alan and Katie over there, and I think I've mentioned it before. Every once in a while, they have a Savini watch where, co-host Katie lives in the same neighborhood, so she passes his house often enough, and sometimes he's taking his garbage out, or it's just normal dude stuff. But you're Werewolf Fable as being like a pure horror podcast. Like, he's like one of their like Mount Rushmore type guys. And
I'm sure, yeah.
And it's like we just drive by his house and he's like out with his dog who's pooping in the yard or something like that.
He's out there with a jewel bag cleaning up after it.
And so it's just kind of fun when they're like, you know, because they never like let almost like you get the vibe they don't tell each other it's coming, because she'll just go like, hey, give me a news report. And Alan would go like, do.
Yeah.
She was like, Savini watch. Yeah. It's like, she's like, I saw him at the pool. You know, like,
he was picking up some 1% milk.
Exactly. So it's just fun. But yeah, Brian Cox and Dave Wonstead. Yeah, that's a tunnel we went down. So
we have going back to the cast, we have the Spurbury Police Department. So like the Broken Lizard cast are the state troopers.
Right.
And then you have your local guys, the local, you know, municipal police department, the Spurbury PD, the chief, led by Chief Bruce Grady, played by Malcolm in the Middle's Daniel Van Bargen. Also a guy who just sort of pops up, plays a lot of like military characters.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah. We have Marissa Coughlin as Officer Ursula Hanson, the only one on their force who kind of gets it and is competent at their job. There's some other officers as well. And then I'm going to mention just a couple other characters here as well. We have College Boys 1, 2, and 3, who both begin and end the movie. You know, College Boy 3, the guy who, and we'll get to this in a moment, I won't get into too many spoilers here, but the guy who consumes all of the drugs in the opening scene, he was married to Christina Hendricks for 10 years.
Really?
Yep. That guy.
Good for him.
And she's older than him.
Before or after this movie?
After.
Okay. So she saw Super Troopers and was like, I like how you look in like a scarf.
That guy. He ate $30 worth of mushrooms.
$130 worth of drugs.
I'm gonna need $130.
I'm gonna need that $130.
We have a German couple that we'll get to.
Yeah, we do.
we have Linda Carter, Wonder Woman herself, as the governor of Vermont, and we also have an early appearance of renowned stand-up comedian Jim Gaffigan. As former Charlotte power forward Larry Grandmama Johnson.
Exactly. Reebok salesman. Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan in Super Troopers. That's our cast of characters.
Great work.
Yes. What do we got for the plot of this epic?
Oh, this is where things get real tough for a movie like this, because this movie is 100% about the jokes.
Yes, that's all it's about.
And so when you've got nothing but the jokes, the plot is very simple, but yet when we do this part of the show where we talk about the plot and it doesn't matter, it makes
it's just 90 minutes of like sophomoric jokes,
exactly, and
most of which land.
It really it's a decently effective movie. You figure the budget for this film was only like $3 million tops, and
2.5 of that went to Brian Cox.
Yeah, but it's like, you bring in Brian Cox. I mean, obviously a young Jim Gaffigan. You got Linda Carter. So it's like you've got people that you recognize. Made a lot of money. $23 million compared to that budget is quite a bit.
And a movie that's also really grown legs over time. Really has become a cult classic.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, it's like 23 years old now. So, like you mentioned, this movie is a standoff between your state troopers, which are our heroes of said story, and your local municipal guys. And the overarching problem is there's budget cuts, and much like The Office, someone's got to give, and of course they're looking at shutting down, at least one highway patrol. And of course, our boys in Spurbury are the ones that are more than likely on the chopping block.
Yeah, they're not good at their jobs.
No, they're not remotely close to good at their jobs.
And I get the idea that the state is aware of that.
Yeah, and so they patrol like a 50-mile section of highway, something that they're like, the local police could cover that. Are you really necessary? And so it's a difficult plot to get into, because we just talked about plot would be done in 5 minutes.
No, just tell the jokes then.
Yeah, and nobody, nobody go. But then there's so many. It's like I don't want to miss any. So, so we kick off with we got Ramathorn and Rabbit, and Rabbit's the rookie, and they just pull a car over. We're introduced to these like other guys,
the college boys 1, 2,
college
and 3.
boys 1, 2, and 3 that are smoking weed, and they're just. I guess they're headed to Canada for some poutine. And,
at least that's what they tell the officers.
Right. Oh, we're just going to Canada for some fries and gravy.
You know how fast you were going?
Right. And it's just, this is
63?
where 65, 63.
63.
Yeah, this is just where the fun happens. Because like you said, they pull this car over, and these guys who are doing drugs in the car freak out, and they have one of the guys eat all the weed and all the mushrooms. So that's not
a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of drugs that he just eats.
And so then they're just messing with him because that's what these state troopers do.
This movie really is just like 90 minutes of hijinks. Yeah,
everything is just a joke. So they're messing with these stone kids, and then this the sports car comes flying by. They throw these 3 college boys in the back to chase down this car. They pull, it's high speed chase. We got 2 police cars on the high speed chase. We don't know any characters yet. And so they pull into this like roadside bar. Well, it turns out to be the off duty cop.
Yeah. And just messing with his buddies.
Mess with, and they all are like, haha, you got us. They pay up. It's just this long running thing that they do. Yeah. Then they remember they got these 3 college boys in the back. So they play, the off-duty cop who, Mac, we could just get to names.
The crazy guy.
Yeah.
Crazy Mac.
Mac, he grabs a gun and steals the police car and, just really messing with these 3 college boys now. It's just, that's how our movie starts. It's just goofiness. They get back to the station. So we've met 4 of our police officers now.
Yes.
Like I said, Ramathorn and Rabbit were partnered up. Mac was off duty. We meet Foster, who like puts a dummy in a police uniform in the front seat of his cruiser so he can go fishing.
Yeah. He's fishing off the side of the road while he's got the dummy in his car.
No urgency at all with any of these reports. And then we get back and we meet Farva. Farva being there was an incident with a school bus that they never really detail.
Yeah.
They just keep throwing it in his face about the incident with the school bus. But he's on desk duty.
Yes, and that's why he's not on the road, because of the school bus incident.
Because he's a loose cannon, to say the least. We've got a meeting, we've got like an all-hands-on-deck meeting where O'Hagan's telling them, again, constantly reminding us that we're going to be shut down. We're going to be shut down.
Get your act together.
Yeah. And these are collectively the worst police officers, probably not just in Vermont.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're all, it's because and you get the vibe, a movie like this, they just made them police to make them police. Like,
you needed a framing device for the movie.
Because they don't act like police at all. No. Whatever. So they get called to a Winnebago. There's an abandoned Winnebago. They get called to it. Local guys are already there, despite the fact it's not their jurisdiction.
Yeah. So how did they know to be there?
Exactly.
Thick, juicy plot twists.
Right, there it is. But if you're watching this movie, you're not thinking about plot twists. So they show, there's a dead woman. There's a dead woman in the Winnebago, and she has a tattoo of one Jonathan Chimpo.
Johnny Chimpo.
She's got a Johnny Chimpo tattoo. Just this chimp. It's Afghanistan animation. That's what it is.
It's in the framing of the movie. It's like it's this fictional character in the movie that represents like Afghanistani drug trade.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got it's just a monkey with a banana, but it's whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a pig in the Winnebago. Then the locals and the state boys start fighting over jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. It's just, it leads to a fight between them. Again, they've got the murdered woman. It's just, I don't know. they that's the end of that scene. Like, it's just a collection of scenes, really. They all do tie to the plot for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Collection of scenes. So yeah, you got a dead woman. Well, then they pull over. We've got Mac and Foster, and they're back on highway patrol, and they come across a semi-truck that's being tailed by a local police. And there's a way station, and the dude just blows right by the way station. So they hit the lights. Local boys drive away. They pull over. They pull over the semi driver, Mr. Gallicanukis.
Just
rolls off the tongue. Well, Foster's about the only. I won't call him a good cop, but at least he's the only one that seems to have his head on straight.
Competent-ish.
Yeah. Well, in terms of like, hey, O'Hagan, I really took to heart what he was saying. We really need to buckle down and do good police work. Meanwhile, Mac's like, let's play repeater. It's like, no, I don't want to do this. And so,
no, I don't want to do this.
you don't want to do this?
No, I don't want to do this.
So Foster steps up, license and registration, please, to where Mac then license and registration. It's just, everything's a game.
Yeah.
So they're asking Gallicanukis, what are you pulling? He's like, I don't know. I'll catch the next way station. So they climb in the back of the truck to check out what's there. Of course, they both climb in, which is the only reason Mac climbed in is because Foster climbed in, and he's playing repeater. Obviously, you wouldn't. I mean, even common sense. I'm not a police officer, and I would know. You don't take all of your officers out of commission.
You don't put them both in the semi.
Yeah,
and they're not good at their job, so they both go in, and Gallicanukis locks them in.
Yeah, just locks them in.
He just locks them in.
And then leaves the truck, but steals their car and like dumps it in a lake.
Yeah.
No, kidding. Ram just parked it across the street.
Yeah.
But anyway, Gallicanukis is nowhere to be found, and they find out that he's hauling like a bunch of marijuana.
Lots and lots and lots of marijuana hidden in boxes of soap.
Yeah, lots of marijuana, and the wrapping on the marijuana has the same Johnny Chimpo as the woman,
as the
dead woman's tattoo. So
this plot is so full of intrigue, guys.
So naturally, they suspect there may be a connection here. They, mentioned it to Chief Grady. Grady just laughs it off, like, "Oh, you guys," because O'Hagan's talking to him like, "Hey, there's some real police work needs to be done here. We've got a connection," of which Grady, just being the enemy, it just laughs it off. "Oh, Johnny Chippo will bring me Bobby Baboon," and
well, and he dismisses it, but like he's always changing the subject. He uses dismissal to move away from the actual concerns that O'Hagan has.
Right. Shenanigans. Use that word on purpose.
Literal shenanigans.
We find Foster. Foster's got the hots for Ursula, and I can't say I blame him. She's like, outside of Governor Wonder Woman, the only woman in the movie, aside from the dead woman as well. Mm-hmm. And so
there's also the German woman too.
No, I forgot about the German woman. Yeah, well, throw them both aside for the German woman. And so, Foster, he's trying to spark a relationship with Ursula, but she's city cop and he's state cop, and she doesn't touch state hog, as she says. And so I don't know, there's just so much going on in between the scenes that matter to the plot. Like you mentioned, we get an incident. I don't know if it happened before or after. It doesn't really matter. Where they pull over this German couple. It's still Ramathorn and Rabbit. They pull over this German couple. Nope, got to back up a little bit before that because there's a baseball game.
Yeah,
and it's based.
This movie goes back and forth between. It's like, here's a scene that moves the plot. Here's a bit. Here's a scene that moves the plot. Here's a bit. Like,
or here's an inconsequential scene to just add a little bit of character development.
Yeah, you can't do them both at once.
No, because we're at a baseball game and like Ramathorn's the coach of his son's team, and like naturally the this, like the town police, all their kids are on the other team. It's just dumb. Like this is really where Foster's trying to, spark something with Ursula. It was it was a mildly, although completely just ridiculously, where like he's trying to flirt with her, about like, nobody punched you at that fight. And she's like, well, go ahead, take your best shot, closes her eyes, and he's playing. Well, then a foul ball like smokes her right in the face. To which she's just like, what just happened?
And she dumps her like snow cone on top of his head.
We also meet Ramathorn's like girlfriend and his son, which then leads us to a scene where Ramathorn and Rabbit are on the road and his son's in the back. And they pull over this German couple, which I'm just so used to driving on the Autobahn.
It's a stolen car.
It's stolen Porsche, yeah.
Rabbit goes over, initially is the one who goes over to the car, and the German guy is flirting with him. His blonde wife is flirting with him.
Something we could do for you or something we could do to you? Which, Rabbit, and we're seeing like all of the undergarments necessary.
Yes.
Which Rabbit is just like, he's a rabbit. He's ready to go.
In the meantime, Thorny on the radio was told it's stolen.
Yeah.
And he walks up to the car like, hey, we're going to have to take you in. And he's talking to Rabbit. And I love the male driver sticks a little feather out of the window.
Feather? That feather was huge.
I should say a very, very large novelty feather.
Just a tickle feather.
It just tickles him in the nethers. It just goes, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo.
And Rabbit's like, Ram, I need this. Like,
it's like, you gotta have to cover.
It's like, this car's hot. And then of course they do arrest this couple. And this it's the little thing. Like, this movie doesn't just go for big jokes. They go for little throwaways too, and they're usually effective. Like, now, because this couple is in the back seat of the police car, Ram's son has to sit in the front seat of the police car. He's like, "Let's climb up on Uncle Rabbit's lap." Oh, not right now, Rammy.
That's not such a good idea.
And so it's, again, one of those little bits.
Yes.
And so we find out that Foster and Ursula's relationship starts to progress. The mayor of Spurberry is really pleased with the state troopers for the Gallicanucas weed bust. Like, they got a ton of marijuana out of it.
Yeah,
and he's
making local headlines.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this bodes well for you. Like, this will be okay. That we might actually get something out of this. With the governor. They're like posing in front of the marijuana. It's just goofy. And so, like I mentioned, Foster and Ursula they're getting a little hotter and heavier. Ursula finally lets her guards down, and just she and Foster like they still got the Winnebago in the impound lot. And it's the townies that it's still the Spurberry police. So. They're fooling around in the Winnebago, break the bed in the back of it, and find even more weed.
Yeah. Cementing
the fact that, yes, the Gallicanucas and the dead woman, they're connected somehow.
There's some kind of connection.
Right. Farva's put back on patrol. And he's raring to go.
He's very aggressive. He doesn't understand the humor of the other cops. Like, he just doesn't. It doesn't compute with him.
But he wants to play so bad.
Yeah.
I don't remember what did Rabbit do to get pulled off. Oh yeah, he stole the car. That's right.
Yes.
He took the Porsche out of the impound
for like a joyride. Yeah.
Yeah, took it for a joyride, and of course, didn't work out. So he gets desk duty. Farva's back. He's back out there. And he gets paired up with Ramathorn, who's trying to talk Foster or Mac into taking him on as a partner.
How about we switch partners?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a great time. And they're like,
no.
They pull over this old couple. And I skipped a bit earlier where Foster and Mac had a bet going on how many times Foster could say the word meow when they pulled over Jim Gaffigan.
Yes.
And apparently Ramathorn had said it 6 times. And so Foster's like, I'm going to say it 10. And so, you know, it was fun enough, whatever. Well, like Farva wants in on it. Like, let's do it. You know,
I want to play those. I want to play those stupid games you guys play.
It's car ramrod. And you know, Ramathorn's like, nah, we should probably not do that. And so he's like, for $20, I'll call the guy a
chicken lover, we'll say.
Chicken lover.
Chicken lover.
You know, to which he does. And then they go out for lunch. And I just, every scene with Farva just,
makes zero consequence to the narrative. Right. Yeah, I got a feeling that when they wrote this, they kind of started with like the nonsense scenes, and they built the story around it as a way to get to the nonsense scenes.
Right. I just like Farva's purely, I mean, he easily has the best physical humor of the crew. Yeah. You know, he's your Chris Farley.
Yes.
You know, he's that type. They go out and grab a burger. You know, we get another fun little just bit scene of Farva being Farva, like a double bake a cheeseburger.
and the kid working the register just immediately understands this guy's a moron and is just playing with him. Yeah.
The double bake a cheeseburger, it's for a cop. What do you mean? You gonna spit in it? Hold the spit. Hold spit.
We'll make it extra good for you.
Yeah. I just totally just gaslighting this guy.
Would you like to emphasize?
It's only a quarter. It's 25 cents. You know,
I want to punch your size your face
for free. It's like, what do you like to drink? I'll have a liter of cola. Which a liter of what? Ram's like, just order a large Farva. I don't want a large Farva. I want a liter of cola.
I want a gosh darn liter of cola.
He's just so aggressive and brash but idiotic at the same. Like,
just doesn't understand what he's doing.
No social cue.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth.
And so, you know, ends up, they spit at his burger, but whatever. I did notice there was no bacon on the burger. I almost put that down as one of my bads.
I gotta feel like he's the kind of guy who would take the bacon off and eat it first.
Probably make a tongue out of it as he's doing. Like, look at this Ram. Well, then he Ramathorn peels back a sticker because they have this, like, you know, win $3 million promotion.
Yeah, like the old Monopoly things on the cup, like you peel it off. Yeah,
and it just this exchange also just really makes me happy. Just
I like how this movie, your emotional state is lifted.
Well, it's
so of a liter of cola.
It's just because none of these guys are like great actors.
No.
But they're good at what they do. And so, like, in this sense,
like, they're good performers. They're not good actors.
Like Kevin Heffernan, like, he is Farva in this movie. Like, he doesn't miss the bit at all. And I love it when he's like, you know, what they have this conversation. What happens if they get shut down? Mm-hmm. You know, and Ramathorn's starting to answer him or whatever, and Farva doesn't care. Like,
no.
He cuts him off.
He's one of those guys who, you know, has a conversation with someone and is just waiting for a pause from the other person so that he can talk about whatever it is that he wants to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. And so it's just ridiculous. You know, like, well, you know, I'd go, but, you know, got the girlfriend and this. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. And it just Ramathorn's looking at him like, I knew it, you know. And so then he's gonna. You know, what would you do with $3 million? I'd buy a $3 million car. Well, I'd have to pull you over. You can't catch me. I'll activate its wings, fly away. Like, he's the kind of guy that you could. Well, we'll get to that later.
And then he realizes he goes to peel the little gift sticker off of his cup of cola, and they had put a hole in it. The sticker was plugging.
Yeah.
So it spills soda all over him. He then runs over and tackles the kid behind the counter.
Yeah. Brian coxed him.
Not that Brian Cox. Not 90s football player Brian Cox.
NFLer Brian Cox.
NFL player Brian Cox.
Just beats the tar out of this kid. And, of course, now he's pulled off the road again. You know, he's just a liability. You know, we get this fun little, like, I don't know. That's later. It doesn't matter. There's no
Yeah.
time frame. Chief Grady. Well, that's even later. Like I'm following kind of the plot structure on Wikipedia just to tip my mind as to what's going on. We get we're inching closer and closer to the reality that the state boys are going to get shut down. Like that's just
it's an inevitability.
They kind of get into this desperation mode. So they decide, let's just bust into the evidence and let's start smoking that weed. And maybe if we watch Johnny Chimpo, we'll get some, we'll get some inspiration. And they bring the German guy into it. Like we see the German couple multiple times in this movie.
Yes, Ramathorn brings them home. To him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, because apparently they're all swingers, and that's okay.
He walks into the room with a bunch of bananas.
It's just like a whole slew of bananas. And so it's just goofy fun. And so we've got just lost my train of thought. They get pulled over. What did Farva get arrested for?
Farva, I think it was because of the Dimpusburger incident.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it
escalated so much that the Spurberry police had to bring him in.
Right, and they're even messing with him. Like they're delousing him with powdered sugar, and
it's delicious.
And basically trying to tip him off as to because O'Hagan has gone to Grady and was like, I've got something that can embarrass you, because they all know about the marijuana in the Winnebago.
Yeah, and assume that the Spurberry...
And they assume Spurberry doesn't know about it. And so Hagen threatens to embarrass him. Grady tries to get information out of Farva, who's just like, no, I'm state all the way.
Yeah, you think that Farva's doing the right thing.
Yeah, you do. And so come to find out that, Grady offers him a job, you'd be real police. And so we turn, Farva refuses, we get pulled off the road. The governor shows up in Spurberry, and they've got this plan in place. Ursula's on board. She's going to help them out. Like, hey, everybody's going to be at the governor's thing. I'll help you guys get into that Winnebago, steal the rest of the marijuana, and show up, with even more, just to showcase how important you guys are to the cause.
Yeah, of course. She was there to kind of celebrate everything that was found from the semi.
Yeah, even though she's not sure why she's going, she thought it was a fundraiser for the Humane Society. Come to is it cocaine? No, it's just marijuana. Well, why are we here? Foster has not led on to the rest of the troopers that he's been helped out by Ursula. He keeps trying to sell himself as this super cop, and so they've got this plan in place where there's going to be 2 officers left at the station, and everybody's going to be at the governor's thing. They're going to create a diversion to get the 2 officers out of the station. So the
2 Spurberry officers.
Right, the 2 Spurberry officers. So that Ramathorn and Foster can hijack the Winnebago, drive it to the governor's thing. And it all works. It all works.
They draw the Spurberry police officers out by staging an incident.
Yeah.
in which
Big Bear.
in which Rabbit is dressed as we'll say a woodsman.
Yeah.
And is having an intimate moment with a bear.
Yep. And people are just standing around watching. They do get the Winnebago to the governor's appearance, only to find out that the Spurberry police had taken the marijuana. They found the marijuana, set up the troopers, and egg on their face.
Step on their moment. This is supposed to be a celebration of the state troopers, but instead it's double celebration of the Spurberry PD.
Yeah. So it's nail in the coffin now. State boys, there's no point in having you. And so Grady's claimed credit. Foster accuses Ursula of, basically playing him and being part of it. So they're fully on board with being shut
down. And all the other state guys are mad at Foster.
Yeah.
You let her take advantage of you.
It's called the honeypot.
She sold you out. She sold us out. Yeah.
They get back to the station, and they're all just plastered, like they're drunker than drunk. And they find Farva cleaning out his locker, dressed in a Spurbury police uniform. And that's when Foster realizes Farva was behind it, not Ursula. So now he feels bad on a personal level. And so they take care of Farva. They like strip him down and handcuff him.
They handcuff him to the toilet.
Yeah. And then they go joyriding in the Spurbury police car.
Yeah.
They go vandalize Chief Grady's house. They finally get on the radio to Ursula. Ursula comes clean, and she's like, I know what they've been doing. I'm going to help you. I know what's going on. Go meet me after work at this intersection. So the drunk state boys meet there in the Spurbury cruiser. And of course, it's 10:30. Ursula's not there. But then Gallicanukis drives by.
Yeah, and in a new big semi.
Yeah. And recognizing that it is the Spurbury police car, he just kind of waves at him and thinking, hey, here's, we don't quite know what's going on yet. But they pull out, and then Farva comes whipping around in his Trans Am and cuts him off.
Of course he drives a Trans Am.
Bright orange Trans Am. And he cuts him off. And they kind of have a heart-to-heart with Farva, and he discloses that, yes, I turned you in. I'm the one that revealed everything that was going on because I wasn't a cop, and he's given me an opportunity to be a cop. To which then they use that vulnerability to, they're like, well, come on, Farva, here's a chance. We're not police officers anymore. If we make this bust, you get to be the hero. So he's on board with that, but he's still an idiot.
He's still Farva.
So they show up at an airfield, and they're kind of hiding in the woods, and they're like, oh man, there's Gallicanukis, there's all the drugs, there's a Canadian airplane.
Yeah.
We've got them. Well, then Spurbury police show up.
And they're like, what? Like, how is this happening again? How do they keep beating us here?
Right. And come to find out, they're in on it.
Ah.
Yeah.
They've been running protection.
They're running cover for Gallicanukis as they've been flying. They thought that they were smuggling drugs to Canada. They were smuggling them in from Canada.
Yeah.
And that Spurbury police were providing protection through the area and keeping them shielded away from the state boys. Farva, being an idiot, thinks that this is like, he sees his police buddies, comes running up there, and hey guys, I'm sorry I'm late, but let's get them. It's police work time. So the troopers, they like deck out a car, hide the trunk. I don't know. It just turns into chaos at this point.
They get the drop on the Spurbury guys and Gallicanukis and this tiny Canadian French Canadian pilot.
Yeah, and so fight breaks out, and they're all drunk, so they win because that's how it works. And come to find, they did it. They stopped police corruption. They stopped the drug trade. They did it. Like they're the heroes. A few days later, O'Hagan invites everybody over. He gets a letter from the governor. They're still going to shut down.
Yeah. Despite the fact they recognize, hey, great work taking down this drug ring, but
it's
we're
still not in the budget. Still not in the budget. So we fast forward a few months.
Yes.
We got a nice wrap. We get a nice wrap around here as Ramathorn and Rabbit are now beer delivery guys.
Yes, for St. Anky beer.
For St. Anky's beer, yeah. They show up at a party, and hey, who's hosting the party?
It's College Guys 1, 2, and 3.
College Guy 1, 2, and 3 are there.
Former Mr. Christina Hendricks.
Yeah, and so because these guys recognize that they're not state police officers anymore, then they start messing with them.
Because at first they're like they recognize and they're like, oh, no, not again.
Yeah, terrified of these guys. Then they're, why don't you move that keg over here and then move it over there and then
just
move it over here.
With them, yeah.
Well, that's when, of course, Ram and Rabbit take off their St. Anky delivery gear, they're city boys now. They're
yep.
Spurberry police.
They are Spurberry police.
Because that's what happened. The state police became the Spurberry police, and our heroes get to save the day. And then we get kind of just a goofy, fun
hijinks.
Yeah, hijinks over the end credits as the college boys and the cops are all like they're
partying together.
Yeah, like chugging beer. There's I don't know. They're just doing fun things.
Yeah.
Farva's there, so he's going too far as usual.
Of course he is.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's Super Troopers.
That's Broken Lizard Super Troopers.
A way too long plot description for a movie that doesn't have that much plot.
But it does have a lot of gags.
It does have a lot of gags. And I left a lot out. So
yeah. I got a feeling some of those are going to come up here in the next few minutes.
All right.
So, Hey, we're at that moment in the show, folks, where Oz and I will each give our own unique rating about the film in question, 2001's Super Troopers. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this 76 tickle feathers.
Yoo-hoo.
Yoo-hoo. What do you give it?
I'm going to go with 10 meows.
Oh, there you go. That's about the maximum amount allowed.
Yes, that's the most meows one can meow during a speeding ticket.
That's as many that are meowed.
Yes. Next up, we've got Outside Insights. Oz and I have scoured the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
Mine is a 5-star review from Brendan on he's a patron, so he's a paid Letterboxd guy.
Ooh.
Left just actually 5 days ago. Left this review 5 days ago.
Wow. Just came across Super Troopers.
Yeah, I just looked at the counter. I'm like, wow. January 7th. He says, yeah, I'll check out the new Criterion Channel account in a little bit. I'm one of those fancy cinephones or whatever. 5 stars. Almost like I don't have time for Criterion. I'm watching Super Troopers.
Yeah. Sorry, Criterion.
Yeah.
And so world-class cinema.
Yeah. There was a time where I was really trying to collect as many Criterion titles as I could.
Yep.
Great films most of the time.
Yes. Yeah, they do a good job.
Armageddon's a Criterion film, so
yeah, most of the time.
Mostly. What do you got for your Outside Insight?
Oh, I gotta share 2 quick ones here. The first one comes. They both come from the Internet Movie Database. The first one is from Weinstock, left in February of 2010. Maybe I just don't get it. Trust me, there is nothing to get. See for yourself if you don't believe me, but you'd be better off, say, scrubbing a public toilet with your tongue or riding a seatless unicycle. So, not a fan. 1 out of 10.
I still gave it 1, though. I think you have to.
Yes, I think that's the lowest rating IMDb allows. I have one other quick 1 out of 10 review. This one comes from August of 2002 and left by Lou Diamond Phillips, a king among men. That's the username.
It's probably his own. It's his own IMDb profile.
Big LDK fan.
Yeah.
Whoever decided that this was a good idea should have been fired. This movie was actually as bad as Rollerball.
Okay. Oh, that's it.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Unnecessarily name dropping another movie. This movie is as bad as Rollerball.
Oh, man. I feel like I'm watching Rollerball again. Like, I feel so bad for, even if they're bad movies.
What did Rollerball do to deserve that?
But they just get sucked into it, so. Oh, well.
Well, hey, folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for, our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the film we're yapping about, 2001 Super Troopers. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first one is that this movie is very quotable, and really, I think it's pretty hilarious. Like,
yeah, it is.
Blizzard has a lot of duds on their record, but those duds were created because of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, very quotable and hilarious. My second good is just Rod Farva. The rest of the crew are pretty interchangeable. Like, they're all in on the same jokes. Like, their sense of humor is adequate. And then you have Farva.
Yeah.
And that's
he's
just
clearly the oddball.
Yes, I love that. And third is just seeing a distinguished actor like Brian Cox really shows comedy chops. Yeah.
He's hilarious in this movie.
He really is. And one of the better drunk acting actors.
Yes, he does a good job acting drunk.
And so that's my third good. It's just seeing Brian Cox relax and have some fun.
I know. Yeah, he was so funny in this movie.
Yeah, it's like when you think this is the same guy that played the original Hannibal Lecter. Like, it's like
and it was in Succession.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, all sorts of other stuff.
Very accomplished actor, but just like, hey, he's having some fun here, and that's worth it. So, what are your three goods?
My three goods, I'm going to start with the soundtrack by 38 Special. I don't know how Super Troopers planned it, or how they managed to get 38 Special in, you know, late 70s, early 80s, rock, like kind of Southern rock band, but it works in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just very, very fun music soundtrack that's laid underneath most of the film. So yeah, kudos to 38 Special for putting out some good stuff. My second good, let's go with the German couple. They're in a couple of scenes, but it's just hilarious.
Oh, they are.
They steal those scenes in this movie. And I think the male actor, I think he was also in Club Dread too, if memory serves.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. But like, he's kind of on the outside of, like, he's Broken Lizard adjacent.
Yeah. And Club Dread's another one I don't mind. I enjoy that movie. I think it's funny. But of course, huge horror film fan, so it's fun watching him spin on that. And just some of the goofiness, like just watch Bill Paxton just take over.
Pretend to be Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I don't know. It's an enjoyable film.
Yeah.
To be honest, those are the only two I've seen. I haven't seen, what is it, Beer Trip or
Beer Fest? Beer Fest is very uneven, but when it's funny, it's hysterical.
Okay. And I haven't seen like the Slammin' Salmon or
no, and I haven't either. I haven't seen the sequel to Super Troopers.
Yeah, I don't remember if I've seen Super Troopers 2 or not. If I did, it'll be a brand new movie. But
yeah, and then I'll go with my last good. I like the wraparound, the beginning and ending, the epilogue and the prologue and the epilogue with the three college guys.
Yeah,
just that opening sequence was so hysterical.
Oh yeah.
And then to end back with them as well. Yeah. So I like that, using that as the plot device and the, just kind of framing your bookends of Super Troopers here. So those are my three goods, Az. Hey, what are your two bads?
My first one, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit here, is that Broken Lizard really peaked right out of the gate.
Yeah, one of my possible bads is, why can't Broken Lizard be more consistent?
Yeah, and they peaked here. It like you said, this movie's got legs, and it bought them a lot of future projects.
Yes.
For the same reason, and only in an adjacent universe, that like M. Night Shyamalan kept getting work.
Yeah.
Of like, he really nailed it with The Sixth Sense, and then everyone's like, well, let's just keep throwing money at him. Yeah. And like Broken Lizard, he's got some that work, and he's got a lot more that don't. And so that's my first bad, is that Broken Lizard just really peaked right out of the gate. My second one is, these guys are terrible police officers. And not only were they terrible state troopers, but now they're just the only terrible policemen. Like Spurberry, that's the only police they have.
Yep.
And
these are the people that are dedicated to serving and protecting the Spurberry metropolitan area.
And even with their backs against the wall, they couldn't pull it together.
No.
To straighten up and actually do their job. So that's my second bad. It's just terrible police officers. What are your two bads?
I'm going to start with my first bad. Is that even though I do find this movie to be very funny, it is kind of bro-y. And there's times when this movie and its humor can grate on me just a little bit.
We're not college guys anymore.
Yeah, and it's kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, let's get drunk, ha ha ha. Oh, yeah, let's smoke some weed, ha ha ha. And like, in the context of the movie and the characters, like most moments are for the most part funny, but it gets a little old for me.
Yeah.
And that kind of humor is like strewn through. Like, that's Broken Lizard's brand. Like, it's that kind of like bro-y humor, and it just gets a little old for me after a while. So that's my first bad. My second bad is that the scene of Kevin Heffernan vomiting after drinking 6 Schlitzes, he actually made himself vomit.
Oh, was that real vomit?
Yes, that's real vomit. He did that on camera, like on command, and he just they put a camera next to the toilet, and that's Kevin Heffernan just vomiting.
I thought that was your like SNL like hose next to your mouth.
I think you could see both of his hands are down on like
you
the
can,
toilet.
you can, but it's like I just thought, but we only saw him from a profile.
Correct.
So it's like, we just put something on the other side of his cheek that you can't see. But
I'm pretty sure that's actually him vomiting.
Oh,
while he's yelling, "Farva's number one! Farva's number one!"
Oh, I love Farva.
Oh, yeah. So those are my two bads. Hey, Oz, what's your for Super Troopers?
Is Vermont really a hotbed for drug running? Like, like it just seemed that like with I don't know. It just maybe I don't know. Like Mexican cartels bringing drugs into our country seems to be the main focus. It's like, why are we not looking at our northern borders?
Yeah, people smuggling in moose.
Yeah, that's right. Elk.
Yeah, hockey.
Yeah, smuggling in hockey. I watched you skate across the border. So, but yeah, that's my Is Vermont really a hotbed for drug running? So I don't know. So what about you? What's your
my actually comes from a scene that I don't think was mentioned earlier. Relatively early in the movie, after the opening scene with the three college guys. Let's see, the four state guys minus Farva are at just kind of a local diner, and they're having a syrup chugging contest, in which they were actually kind of like Kevin Heffernan vomiting. They were actually chugging syrup. It's like like Jay and
Rabbit.
the guy who played Rabbit. They were actually chugging maple syrup.
Which
so
is
my is just quite simply, it's more of a for you and I. How much syrup do you think you could chug?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Probably a liter.
Liter of syrup.
Liter of syrup. No, I couldn't get through a bottle. Not now. Granted, they cut away from them, so
a little bit, but like they still put down some. I guess they started. I think it started as like really dark iced tea.
Okay,
but it wasn't working on camera, and so they like just get some syrup. Let's just do it.
And good for Jay, considering he's the director of this movie, to like put himself in there. Like, I'll do it, guys.
I love it. Hagen walks in. The boys get that syrup in him. They get all antsy and they're pensy.
It's. I don't know, how much syrup do you think you could chug?
I don't know. Not that much. I could probably chug a little.
Yeah,
like I could see myself putting down maybe like 8 ounces of syrup or so, but not like 32 like are in those bottles.
I could probably put down one of those little barrels.
Yeah,
or like the glass bottles of like pure Vermont syrup or whatever.
Sure. So the syrup quality matters. If you
because of the pureness of that syrup, they have to sell it in a smaller bottle, or else it'd be like $16 or whatever. So I don't know, but what they're chugging down of like butter flavored generic syrup.
Yeah.
I that's just corn syrup. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, that's it's like diabetes in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. You have it now. Like, that's how you catch diabetes.
Yeah. Wilford Brimley's gonna have a talk with you.
Yeah, that's how you catch it. So, all right. Well, that was fun.
That wraps up a fun movie, Super Troopers.
Do you have a fun movie for us next week?
I do. As we continue with rhyming titles, we're sticking with silly comedies, and this time we're going to shift from the early aughts to the early 90s and go to the Charlie Sheen starring vehicle Hot Shots! Exclamation point.
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
I like Hot Shots. Yes. It's been a while, but I like Hot Shots.
Yes, I watched it maybe a week or so ago, and it's been a while since I'd seen it as well. But yeah, a good spoof movie, and that's when spoof movies, that was kind of the heyday for spoof movies.
Well, yeah, they were the heyday because one, it seemed like like Abrams Zucker or something like that.
Yeah.
Like like they knew how to do it right, and they actually brought in like talent to do it.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a copy and paste of like the movies it was spoofing. There was just enough original character, just enough new content.
Yeah, it was it was fun. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Hot Shots. Oh, well, that wraps up another week of Let's Talk About Flicks.
No.
We're almost halfway through January already.
We are, and this is a 5-weeker for us.
Yeah.
Again, in the Let's Talk About
Flicks, when we're recording.
Yes. Yeah, we measure our release weeks by Wednesdays, so this is a 5-weeker for us.
Yeah. Yeah, this will drop on the third Wednesday out of 5, so yikes. Otherwise, though, social media-wise, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, YouTube, Yelp.
Google Plus.
Right. Yeah, Google Plus. MySpace.
LinkedIn.
AOL Instant Messenger. You can find us just about anywhere. Local laundromat.
on the bulletin board at Panera.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe someday. But yeah, you can find us on those social media channels. We're not on TikTok or Snapchat. We're too old for that.
Yeah, too old. My back hurts just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's right. I can't TikTok anything. But we will be back next week to talk about Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
So, for another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
We'll see you guys next week.